We are live.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi, Facebook world. We are here with our weekly Facebook Live, and we are Fearless Public Speaking. This is a company that we've created to help women to speak up and speak out and find their voice and share their message with the world. So I'm Krista. I'm a life coach and hypnotherapist. This is my partner in crime, Monica.
Hey.
Hey.
Super excited. I'm a real talk and public speaking coach, and together we are Fearless Public Speaking.
Yes. And we have a beautiful topic for you all today: how to say no without sounding like a bitch. So Monica and I were, just to let you all in on our process, we choose our topic week to week. For me, I regularly talk with the universe and my spiritual team, and I just, believe I'm an open channel, and I say, what do my audience, what do they most need to hear today? And so it's kind of like whatever topics that Monica and I are both struggling with at the moment, or our clients are struggling with, and then that's how we choose it. And so today just felt good for helping women to get their power back, especially women who identify as people pleasers. I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Me too.
You would identify that as well. Okay, that's what I figured. I just didn't label you as that if you didn't feel like you were that. And what we see happen a lot of times is that women live in this maybe world, and they're not making decisions, and they're not feeling powerful. They're not trusting themselves, and it's energetically draining to live in the maybe world. So we want to teach you today how to be really confident with your decisions. And if you need to say no, teaching you how to say no in this way that feels really good.
Well, and it's super important for us to talk about this, right? Because especially if you are an online entrepreneur or anything in your life where you are making decisions or you're being sold to in some way, and I mean, that happens in life in general all the time, we see this phenomenon of women not wanting to let down other people, and we don't think about our own needs. Instead, we're like, oh, they're going to be hurt if I say no. I got on a call with them and I'm going to hurt their feelings. And we're here to talk to you about the fact that we want you to have a powerful no, or even a powerful maybe, or a powerful not right now. And so we want to just really talk to you about what that can look like so that you can lean into not feeling so uncomfortable with saying no. No, I think it was my girl, Sophia Robinson, and yours too, who said in her book, no is a complete sentence. Okay? No is a complete sentence. Yeah, and Dave says, when you make a decision, you change your destiny. Ooh, Dave, that's beautiful.
Ooh.
I love having you here, Dave, with us.
Hi, Dave. Yeah, and I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts this morning, Brooke Castillo. She has the Life Coach School. She's brilliant. And she was talking about like how to cultivate your power. And she said, it was perfect that I was listening to it this morning. She said, one of the most powerful things you can do is to make a decision or say no. And so many of us at the end of the day are wanting to find confidence. This is probably the number one thing that my clients are seeking out. And so it can all begin with making a decision. And sometimes that decision is going to be no. So, and just to give you guys some specific examples too of how this has shown up in my life where I haven't made a complete decision and it's been some pain points for me, is a lot of times after I work all week with clients and doing my creative work, and if someone invites me out on a Friday night to socialize, I don't want to do that, right? I just want to rest my brain. I want to veg out in front of the couch, but then I feel guilty and I feel like, oh, I'm not being a good friend or I'm not being social. So I'll either say yes or maybe. And then if I do end up going out, I can't be my present self because I'm exhausted. And then I get mad at the people that I said yes to and I blame them. And I'm like, oh, it's all their fault. And it's just a bad situation to be in. So that's one example where it can show up. Another example I see is when I'm leading sales calls and I can tell the woman that I'm talking to just aren't into my offer or we're not connecting. And, you know, I'll ask at the end, how do you feel about working together? And I can tell they're like, yeah, maybe I'll think about it, or not right now, or, you know, all these objections come up. And I would love for them to just own, like, you know what? No, this doesn't feel right, or no, I'm just not ready for this right now. And I know it. And we'll talk more about that at the end of today. So those are kind of some examples. Do you have any specific examples, Monica?
Well, I think one of them too is where you need to say no. It's a no and a yes to yourself. So it's saying no to adding things in general, whatever that is, and a yes to giving yourself space. So kind of like what you talked about, Krista, with Friday night. For me, that shows up as I've got mornings blocked to do all of my administrative things and my money stuff, all of that stuff. And I constantly will be like, oh, well, this time in the afternoon doesn't work for you. Wait, I don't have any more times this week. So yeah, I can fit you in the morning. And it's a slippery slope because then my whole week is filled. I didn't get done all of this stuff, which may seem like you can put off until later, but is really important to my peace of mind and making sure that I'm taken care of as well as my business. And then you just spiral further and further behind.
Yeah. So what is it that you really want to happen in that situation?
I want to own my shit. I want to say, these are my hours. This is where I take care of me. This is the stuff that I'm going to get done. And other than that, I have plenty of time. It's switching to that from the scarcity to the abundance mindset, like not enough time, which I know I just sent you the Chase Jarvis video, and we're going to talk about that in more detail in a minute, but it's switching that not enough time to that's not a priority for me right now at this point in time. This is my time to do these things I said I was going to. I have plenty of time to coach people or to get on calls and let the magic happen, because the magic does happen when you release. And you all know my word of the year is surrender. So when you surrender to what you said you wanted, everything starts happening.
Exactly. Love that. Okay, well, let's go ahead, and I'm all about, Monica loves structure. I love structure. So on these calls, we try to like give you actionable how-to steps, right? We don't want this to just be like woo-woo and fluffy. And so we have some actual steps for you all today on how to powerfully speak up and have your empowered no. And step number one is just give yourself permission that it's okay to say no. And it's like when I was like typing this out, like even just typing it out, I felt this weight release from my chest of like, it's okay to say no. Mm-hmm. Like, doesn't that just feel good? Like saying that out loud? Can you feel that weight like just releasing? Yeah. So that's so powerful right there, is giving yourself permission to say no. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing shameful. There's nothing bitchy about it. Like, it's okay to say no. So I want you all to do this with me right now. Like, just close your eyes, put your hands on your heart, connect with your heart chakra, and just say, you can say out loud or in your mind, like, it's okay to say no. And then you just release that with your exhale. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. And just say it like over and over again until you truly, truly believe it. So that is step number one. I know it seems easy, but it is powerful. Okay, step number two is, how does the invitation feel in your body? So when I'm teaching my clients a lot about how to use their intuition, because your intuition is one of the most powerful resources and tools that you will use for the rest of your life, in everything in your life, in your business. And when you're making decisions, you're going to use your intuition to make a decision. And your intuition, it lives in your body. It doesn't live in your head. It lives in your body. And so this is why sometimes we have to get out of our head. And this is why hypnotherapy and meditation and all that's amazing. And so when you're making a decision and you're thinking, should I say yes or no, or not right now, or whatever, if it's aligned, it's going to feel like an expansion in your body. And if it's not aligned, it's going to feel constricted and contracted, and like you're going to want to pull away. Okay. And if this is like a foreign concept, you guys are just going to have to practice this. This is a skill. I promise everyone has an intuition and everyone is capable of feeling this. It's just sometimes we get so disconnected from our feelings and what's going on with our body, but our bodies are so wise. It's a whole nother area of coaching called somatic coaching. So just think about it, like the next time, maybe you're on a sales call, you're thinking about hiring a coach, or you're deciding, someone gives you an invitation to go out on a Friday night, or you're trying to decide if you want to quit your job, or anything that feels like a big decision, like just sit with it for a moment in your body. And is it expansive or is it contracted? And that'll give you your answer right away every single time. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Monica?
I have a story to share after the next step. So I'll let you share that next step and then I'll throw in a story.
Okay. Our next one, step number 3, is always start with gratitude and a thank you. This is like the secret sauce for everything in life. And this is actually, if you guys watched our Facebook Live last week, it was all about receiving feedback. And this is what we taught you in receiving feedback. Thank you for that feedback. That's always going to be your first response. So it's going to be the same thing with here. If you feel like you need to say no, and we'll give the example of you're on a sales call, a coach invites you to work with her and it's not feeling good. It's not feeling like the right offer. You're going to say, thank you so much for your time today and holding space for me and guiding me through this process. And I'm so grateful for everything that you've given to me today, right? Like you're just leading from a place of abundance and love and trust here. And it's going to kind of like soften the blow of the no. So again, we don't want you to feel like a bitch. We don't want you to sound like a bitch. So starting that way, thank you and acknowledging, and then you can say whatever you need to say after that of like, but I'm just not, this just isn't feeling right for me right now, or I'm just not excited about this offer, or I just want to focus on other things. I thought I wanted this, but I really don't. And so that's such a powerful way to say no, is by starting with that thank you and offering that gratitude.
Yeah. And so I want to, first of all, acknowledge Dave for putting comments in here. Thanks, Dave. So yeah, consistency leads to competency. Doing the daily 5-minute thing brings the foundation for better living. I think he's talking about what we were talking about before, making space for yourself and honoring that and not taking away from that. And then he also said, you are not your mind. Awareness is key to detach mind, which I think is really great, especially for very cerebral thinkers and feelers. Like there's a difference. I'm a certified associate through emergenetics, which I'll be talking about that more soon, but there's a difference between people who are very relational and social based, and that's where we feel things more in our gut and in our heart. And then there are some people who are very thinking and analytical and rational based. And so when you ask them, how does that feel? Often they're not going to know how to answer that because they're like, I don't understand. What do you mean? How does that feel? Well, if you ask them, what do you think? For them, they may still tell you how they feel, but it comes from here. So I think that's really important, Dave. You are not your mind. Awareness is key to detach the mind, because you've got to ask the right questions to be able to allow people to detach from that really high level space, but then still feel into what their brain is processing. So that's just a little side note. Back to the 3 steps though. With the gratitude too, I am huge on acknowledgement. I've discovered over the past year that is one of the most important things that I need in my life and that I give in my coaching. And so what Krista is talking about is acknowledgement. It's giving someone acknowledgement that they gave you time and space and they showed up for you. And that feels really good as a coach to receive that too. It's easier to receive a no when it's kind and filled with acknowledgement and gratitude. Yeah. So I want to share with you all something that happened yesterday. Krista, you already know about this, but as you all know, I have been working a coffee shop job for the past about a month and a half. And yesterday I was very overwhelmed and I was feeling like I don't have the time to do all of the things. And it came to me that really what was blocking me was this coffee shop job. I enjoy it. I love the people there. It's been really fun. I know how to make a mean espresso now, which is awesome.
Yay.
It pays pretty minimally, which I understand because it's a small business. And it's just not enough for me to take 16 hours out of my week, 16 working hours that I can commit to my business. It was perfect for me for the time because if had I not done that, it wouldn't have allowed me to get to this space. But these steps right here that Krista's outlined so far are exactly what I did yesterday. Sat with it. First of all, like it was funny because Krista and I talked and she's like, take a break, go do something else. And then I wrote her back a few minutes later and I was like, nope, I already did it. She's like, oh, because I sat with it and I was like, what would it feel like to put in my 2 weeks on this? And everything expanded. And it felt so good. Like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And then I got those nerves that came up with the old people pleaser, like, oh my God, what are they going to think? Is she going to be mad? But I want to just read you a little bit of the message that I sent to my boss. So what I said was, hope you're having a great day. Something on my mind. My business is picking up and I'm not sure how much longer I can sustainably stick with working at the coffee shop. I really love it there and I knew this could happen, albeit didn't think it would be this quickly. I suppose that's good, right? I'm thinking it would be best if I'm taking up the schedule after next week. I'm not sure if it's possible to keep me on file for emergencies, blah, blah, blah. And then what I told her is, please know this is difficult for me to say as I appreciate the opportunity and the investment you've put into taking a chance on me and training me. And I adore you and all the staff there. I'm just struggling to meet all my commitments right now and feel this is best. That's the gratitude side, right? That is acknowledging her, giving her credit for everything she's just done, the investment she's put into me. And then that message sat out there for about 7 hours. So my people pleaser brain is like, oh my God, what's going on? She hates me, whatever. And then she dropped me a message and said, thanks for letting me know. It was great to have you working there, even for a short time. I'm glad we were able to meet. I'm going to check out the schedule and then let you know what's going on. You rocked it, and I will keep you posted on the service work, etc. And I cried my eyes out because it was so kind. Kindness given is kindness received. And so when you put this gratitude out there, people can't help but give you that back. So this is how to say no without sounding like a bitch. Kindness, just kindness. So I thought it was, I know that took a little time. Thank you for giving me that space to say that, but I thought it was really relevant to what we're talking about.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love that. And you're right. That I was thinking of that as you said that, like, because you led with that thank you, that gratitude, that love, it was returned to you. And I just wanted to share one other example to give you guys, because for me, I like kind of like exact scripts and examples when I'm leading new things is like, if your friends invite you out on a Friday night and you don't want to go out, how you could respond back to that is, thank you so much for thinking of me. It means the world to me that you took time to reach out and send me this invitation. And I definitely want to be able to do more things with you in the future. But tonight I need to lay low. It's been a stressful week and I know I can't show up as my present self tonight. Right? Like that just is so genuine and authentic that like people are gonna be like, okay, yeah, totally. Right? Like it just feels good. I mean, even just saying it out loud, it feels good. So again, like, and a way to maybe do it not so nicely would be like, no, I'm really tired. I don't want to go out tonight. Right? Completely different tone and energy. And like, if I invited someone out and I saw that message of like, no, I'm tired. I don't want to go out. I would be hurt. I would be like, oh, well, I took the time to invite you. I was excited to spend time with you. But if I saw that, the first message of like that gratitude and love, I would be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to invite them out again. And
yeah. And I want to add one thing into that too, Krista. And I had put a note in we do little documents here to have everything. This is one more way to make your no even more empowered. Remove the but, the unfortunately. When you give a statement, And I'm not trying to critique you, Krista. It was just popped
No.
into my mind as you said it, because we do
When I
this.
was saying it, I was like, I feel like Monica's going to say
Well, it's worth bringing up because this is something that changes everything. And I used to teach a class on empathy, and this is part of really good empathy and how to give bad news is to say, thank you so much for the invitation, et cetera, et cetera. I really want to hang out with you. I'm feeling very tired tonight, so I'm going to take this night to myself. Please send me an invitation next time. Because what you do when you put a but or an unfortunately in there is you've just lifted them up. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But, and then they're like, oh shit, what's coming? Crash down. And you just ruin everything you just did to give them. We weaken our messages by putting things like but or unfortunately in. You can tell I'm very passionate about this.
Wow. And it's just with giving feedback, it seems like, as well.
Yeah, it's just as good with giving feedback. Take the word out. It feels awkward for a second because you've got to give yourself a pause. It makes so much sense though, and it feels very powerful when you start doing it and you see the difference it makes. You can always, if you feel like you need a tie together word, it's kind of like we talk about in coaching, and is a good filler word. If you're like, I really love this invitation and I need tonight to myself. That's okay. You're putting two things together. Generally speaking, though, if you can remove that middle word, make the statement firmly, much more powerful.
Love it. Thank you for correcting me. And
no worries.
we coach each other on this show. I mean, we are coaches. We want to show the people, we want to show the world, like, this is what it looks like when you coach each other. And
we do it all the time.
We do it all the time. Yeah. Okay. What's our next step? Oh, this is a good one. Don't hide behind excuses. So when working with my clients, I will not allow them to use the words, I don't have time, or I can't afford this. Those phrases like make me cringe so hard because I used to say them all the time. And my first life coach would catch me on them. Words have power. And the reason these phrases are so dangerous and damaging is it's taking away our power. We're giving our power away to money and time, and really we're in complete control of our time and our power, or no, our time and our money. So how we're going to switch this is we're going to say, that's just not a priority for me right now. And when you do it that way, it changes everything. So, right. So if you find yourself all the time saying, oh, I wish I could have a coach, but I can't afford to work with a coach right now. You know, we need to change that mindset around and saying working with a coach is just not a priority for you. Because if it was a priority, you would find ways to make it happen. You know, you would maybe stop spending so much money at Starbucks, or you would, you know, start putting savings aside to save up, or like there's so many different ways that you can afford things. And by using that phrase, oh, I can't afford it, it's just keeping us stuck and we're not going to be moving forward. So it's okay to choose not to spend money or to not use your time in a certain way, but you have to own it and you have to tell people that it's not a priority right now.
Yeah, and I love that so much. And I'll drop the link into the Chase Jarvis video that actually Peter Lynch, who you guys have seen on my Facebook at some point, but he was the first one who introduced me to Chase Jarvis, who has a whole video about shifting this. The cool thing about it too is it really tests you, because if you are sitting there and you're thinking, oh, I don't have the money for that, and then you say out loud, having a life coach isn't a priority for me right now, and then sit with it and see how that feels. Because if you feel it in your body, like, oh shit, I don't like the way that feels, I want it to be a priority for me right now, then that can change the whole trajectory of where you go. And that's where you get to talk with the person or the coach or whoever about like, okay, is there a way to make this work? I want to make this a priority and I need help figuring out how to make that work. And that's totally different than just saying, oh, I don't have time, I don't have money, you know, all of that.
Right. Totally. And for all of you too, who want to be coaches out there, you can't be using these phrases yourself because you need to help your clients get out of using these phrases. So if you're watching this and you're a new coach, you're thinking about becoming a coach, you've got to start practicing this habit yourself. It's huge. It's so huge. Okay. Next one. Okay. Our last step okay, trust yourself that you did the right thing. Don't continue worrying about the other person. So you have to trust that when you say no and you've done it in the most loving, gracious way possible, that the other person is going to be able to be okay with it and receive it. And you cannot spend the rest of your day or the rest of your weekend like, oh my gosh, I pissed the person off. They're going to hate me. They're never going to want to be friends again with me. You're talking like, again, that's just you wasting mental energy and giving your power away. So you have to really practice trusting that when you say no, that the other person can handle it and be with it. And if you sense that for some reason they aren't, you know, maybe the next day you come back and say, hey, just wanted to check in. The energy was a little weird after our conversation. Is everything okay? And then usually that will cause the other person to either speak up or they'll be like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. Or so. But, and then the other thing too, is just remember, like, what's best for you is best for everyone else. I love this phrase. I think one of my coaches, Rebecca was the one I heard this from. And my clients love it when I tell them this too, because it's true. Like, again, if you are saying yes to things that you are not really excited about or committed to, then you're letting everyone else down at the end of the day. So like, for me, I think saying yes to something you're not excited about is actually kind of mean for the other person.
It creates more work for everybody, because especially in coaching, like, we got to work harder to pull stuff out of you, and you may not follow through on your commitments because you don't care that much. So it's, and really another thing to add into that too, and this has been helpful for me both in my business, but also in giving no's to people is, and this is like a mantra you can use. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about me. Because in the end, if someone else is upset by your no, it is 9 times out of 10 not about you. You didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
They may have something coming up because it's a trigger for them to get said no to, and they have some wounds they need to work through. But in the end, it's not about you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay. And now we have one little mini bonus section that we wanted to share before we end this topic today. But this is going to be for coaches who lead sales calls, which we hope you do if you're running your own business, because this is how you hire clients. And that's a whole nother topic we could get on about being afraid of sales and that. But so a lot of people follow us who are wanting to be coaches, who are our coaches. And so we wanted to give you a little bit of a training today of one of the best things that you can do for your potential clients when you're on a sales call is helping them to have an empowered yes or no by the end of the sales call. And we thought that that was very appropriate for the topic today. So we have some steps and some examples of some things that you can ask. So let me just pull up my notes here. So I just want to set up the scene for you. So you're on this discovery call with the client. There's this amazing connection, and you invite them to work with you, which I hope that you do. And then they say, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not ready. And you can you're tapping into your intuition and you're like, something's not adding up here. Like, what's going on? Like, we really connected. I've identified that my offer is the perfect solution for them at this time. Like, this was totally going to be a yes, and something happened. One of the best things you can do is coach them through this. And you want to ask for permission. Like, hey, I noticed there's an energy shift here. Is it okay if I do a little coaching around this? You don't ever want to start coaching without someone's permission, because it's kind of like, it can be a block, or it can make people really defensive. And once they say yes, you can just be honest with them and say that, like, hey, I noticed we were in great connection, and you were so excited to fix this thing that you came onto the call for. Like, what happened? What shifted from there? And then, all the stuff will start coming up, and you can support them through that. And you can say, like, if you truly feel that this is not a good fit for you, or I'm not the best coach for you, like, that's okay. I just want you to have a confident answer by the end of this call. And you got to remember, most people are walking around not knowing how to make decisions, and they're living in maybe land, like what we talked about at the beginning of of the video today. So one of the most powerful things you can help someone do is to help them really figure out what it is that they want and need. And so some different questions that you could ask for that is, let's see, what did I put here? Okay, so how do you usually make important decisions in your life? I love that. I heard that from one of my mentors the other day, is asking them, like, you know, go back to in the past with them. How have they made important decisions before? Or how does this offer feel in your body, right? What we talked about earlier, the expansion or contraction. Or if, did you put this one in here? If money were off the table and you had to pick an absolute yes or no by the end of the call, which one would you pick?
Yeah, I think it can be money or whatever their objection is, money, time, my spouse won't like it, whatever it is. I think it's really powerful to just call a duck and say, if this thing weren't here and you had to pick a yes or no, which would you pick? And like snap decisions can come out of that, because a lot of the times they're going to be like, hell yes. And you're like, okay, cool. And so that I actually want to talk a little bit more about, I know Krista has one more question here about like, what does it look and sound like when you trust yourself? Because a lot of this does boil down to trust or lack thereof in your own decisions, worrying 5 steps ahead about what's going to happen. Am I going to get my money's worth? All of those things. And this is where they get to experience a little bit of you and your coaching style, which can help them lead to a better decision.
Yeah.
Also, the empowered right now, not right now, and the empowered maybe. So what we mean by that is the empowered not right now, you still have this conversation we just talked about. And this may be something like, you know, I have some financial things that are going on. Maybe we talk through it a little bit if they're open to it. And maybe they know that they're going to get a bonus in a couple months. And this is a huge priority for them. This is where, as Krista says, the fortune's in the follow-up. And I will automatically say to them, okay, when's a good time to follow up with you? Let's set a call right now. I do this even as a consumer. I actually had an interview with a VA this morning, someone I want to use. And after listening to her, I was like, there's some stuff I want to do in the background to get a little bit organized. Can I follow up with you on this date? And she looked at me like, holy crap, that just happened. Like you asked me and you told me you're going to follow up for me. But that's a powerful thing as a consumer that you can also do, is if you know that there's a time when you are going to be more ready to have this discussion again, you can offer that. But as a coach, you absolutely want to be saying, okay, cool. So 3 months from now, you've got this bonus. Let's just set up a call and see where you're at then, see what's changed. So that's an empowered not right now. And the empowered maybe is like, it's pretty similar. It's like, you know, I still don't feel 100%. But what I think with empowered maybe is maybe they still feel like something is off for them. And they need to sit on it. They need to feel on it. They need to think about it, talk to people, whatever. Being an empowered maybe as a consumer, I think this one is more about being the client. Having an empowered maybe is owning your shit, is saying something still feels a little bit off for me. I'm not quite sure what it is yet. I'd like to sit on it and think about it for a bit. Let's follow up later. Take control of the conversation. It takes the work out of it for the coach, right? Own your shit. Ask for what you need. And your coaches are going to be like, oh, like you are amazing. Now I want to work with you even more.
And yeah, that's good to know too, is if you get an empowered maybe, you can always schedule a follow-up call for 24 to 48 hours. Just sometimes people do need some time to sit on things and process. I'm one of those people. I don't make, you know, quick decisions right away. And then after you do that follow-up call and they're still just like, it's just, you know, something's not feeling right, something's feeling off, you guys can't figure it out together on the call, then that's when you can say, let's follow up in like 3 months and see where you're at there. And then you can just take things off the table for both you and the client. You don't have to be wondering like, oh, should I have done something more or something less? And right, it's like you just have to get to this point of clarity to where you can get the person completely out of your mind and you're not waking up every day and going to bed at night being like, oh, should I have done something differently or said something differently? And it's like, especially as creative entrepreneurs, you need all the mental space you can get And worrying about people and wondering if you made the right decision is just not, it's not good for anyone at the end of the day. So yeah, the more clear that you can be with your decisions and to help your clients to get clarity too, like it's just going to be so empowering for everyone.
And I'll tell you, every time I've done this, I just started doing this maybe a couple of weeks ago, but every time I've done it on a sales call, the client or potential client has been like, yep, absolutely sounds good. No one has turned me down for a follow-up call. And so that's when you know you're vibing well with someone and that they really respect that you want to talk with them and you're taking ownership of that. And I get right into my scheduling system. I set up the invite right away, send it right over to them. So it's just fast, easy. And then neither of you have to think about it. It's not just about them. It's not just about you. Neither of you have to think about it, which is good for everybody.
Yeah. And then, you know what? I'm going to own it. I actually got turned down for a follow-up call this week.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Own that. It's all good.
I did. And well, I mean, we had a 30-minute discovery call, was a little bit rushed. I could tell by the end, she just something was off. And we actually did have a follow-up call scheduled and she didn't show up to it. So that's another thing too. If people aren't showing up to the follow-up calls, then you know they're getting in their head or something's going on. And when I texted her and I said, hey, you know, I noticed that we missed each other. Do you want to reschedule? I'm available to do that one more time. I have for me, my boundaries are that I'll reschedule once after like a follow-up call. And then after that, if like they miss it or something, then I'm just like, okay, this person is not ready. But in her text, she was just like, oh, I don't, you know, when I offered to get back on the phone with her, she's like, I'm not sure. And I was like, no, you know what? There's just something, you know, not feeling aligned here. Let's stay in touch on social media. And I gave her my social media handles. And I said, I have so much free content for new coaches. She wants to start a new coaching business. Let's stay in touch that way. And then when you're ready, reach out. And for me, it just felt so good. It felt like I was taking my power back because she was showing up so wishy-washy to our first call. And then with the follow-up call, you know, couldn't even show up to that. And so if you think about it, and now we're getting to a whole sales training here, but it's like, you're such a good coach. Your time and energy is so valuable. And you really want to enroll people who are like, I call it the hell yeah factor. And I was going to talk about this earlier in the video today, but like, you want people being like, hell yeah, I'm ready for this experience. Hell yeah, I want to work with this coach. And if that's not there, then it either requires time or a follow-up call or something, but it's all about that hell yeah factor.
So I agree.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all we have today. And it's my 34th birthday today. So I'm actually taking off work and I'm going to hang out with my boyfriend. He's got a whole day of events planned for us. So I'm so excited. And I'm so glad that we got to spend time with all of you. We really enjoy doing these Facebook Lives. We hope that you continue to follow us. And this will get uploaded onto our YouTube channel later this week. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Monica?
Keep an eye out. Big things are coming. Krista and I are having our first retreat together for Fearless Public Speaking at the end of this month in Clearwater, Florida. We'll be coming to you with a video that week. And also next week, we will be coming to you. We'll be advertising a training, free workshop, virtual workshop on how to lead your first virtual workshop. So when you want to sign up for that, we'll be putting that post out soon so you can get all signed up. And then just keep an eye out because we've got some really exciting stuff coming. Speaker Space is just around the corner. We'll talk about that soon. Our retreat in the fall is going to be in Colorado here. The leaves are going to be changing. The energy is going to be insane. So much cool shit coming up. So keep watching us, keep hanging out, send us a hello, and we look forward to interacting with you.
Bye.
Bye.